The Lebanese are demanding a technocratic government, and I must give credit where credit is due. It is progressive thinking. It is the way of the future, and it honors the original inhabitants of the land, the Phoenicians, in their way of thinking. It's the appropriate thing for them. Yeah, the Phoenicians were innovative, and it follows that pathway, and it makes me proud to originate from Lebanon. And yeah, kudos to them, and I think it's great that they're seeking what's appropriate, and they're gonna benefit significantly from it. So I wanna discuss what a technocratic government is. That it is a government that has its lifeblood in software, its operating system. It uses software to run the country, and yeah, it's like an operating system for a country. So it everything is managed through that, and recently they appointed a software engineer for the position of prime minister, which is pretty, maybe they have an idea what a technocratic government ensues. And yeah, so a technocratic government's lifeblood is an operating system, and the thing about a technocratic government is that you don't have leadership. The leadership is the people. It's based on mob rule, and so it's run through referendums, and the most top position decision makings, it's a mob rule. So the votes of the people, the majority, makes the most decisions, and yeah, and then you allocate to professionals, groups of professionals. You subdivide that decision making process to groups of professionals with the correct qualifications, accredited qualifications. And like I say, everything is in software. It's recorded in software. The big issue with the Lebanese, they wanna get rid of politics and government, and that's what technocratic government is. There's no politics in there. It cuts out the unnecessary political aspect of governing, and yeah, it cuts out a lot of that nonsense, and by doing so, it cuts out the corruption. Of course, there's things you have to do to make sure corruption doesn't take place, and one of the main things of this operating system is transparency. Everyone gets to see where all the numbers are going, where the money is being spent. The numbers are there for everyone to see and everyone to analyze and everyone to judge. So the general population votes where whatever decisions they want to have, and those decisions get carried out, and yeah, they get to see all the numbers, and if something isn't right, whatever, they pose a referendum. Anyone in the population can make a referendum and have it voted on and acted on accordingly. So transparency is a key part, and the monetary system, there's no need for paper money anymore. That can be digital, and yeah, that's waste that can be gotten rid of. So all money can be made digital, and yes, whatever supporting things that need to be done to make that happen. I don't know, give people cheap smartphones, hand them out for free, whatever, so they can make commerce, and yeah, things like that. Everything is digital. We're at a time that a technocratic government is possible, is actually feasible, because the technology is there. So all it's needed is to make the software, and you know, any game programming company could easily make the software really quickly. You know, it would be much more productive. Another thing, of course, is you need oversight committees, and to make sure no one is scamming the system. So everyone, there you have groups within each field of work, whatever, education, transportation systems, road work, whatever that needs. That's the responsibility of the government. You have subdivisions which are their sole function is to ensure that corruption isn't taking place, people aren't scamming the system, and aside from that, like I said before, people, anyone can see the numbers and say, hey, that's not how much that thing costs. You know, that guy, you know, is taking a piece of the pie, yeah, too much. You know, he's scamming us. So, and then he can bring it to the attention of the people. And then another thing is that you have groups of those oversight committees. So you got in a sort of hierarchy. So you got one group that checks on the work of just specifically on the work of a particular profession, and then another group that checks on a couple of professions, not just one profession over, and also another that checks on the work of the oversight committee. So you got the oversight committee being also analyzed, checked for corruption, and corruption is the biggest issue that's hard to keep out of any system. It's probably impossible, but you can mitigate it with a system of oversight committees, and so you got that aspect, and then you need something that can't be overlooked. It's too important, although it's superficially, it's the user interface, but it's vital you have a good user interface, because if people don't use it, it's not gonna work. The whole setup will fall apart, and yeah, you're back into the dark ages. So you need a user interface that's very user friendly, and that will people will use, and be content with. So a simple, a very intuitive user interface, that's very vital for a technocratic government. And everything is run through basically a program you access through your phone, through whatever computer, and the whole country is run through this program. Policies, you enter information, you set up algorithms, and when a decision is to be made according to policy, you enter the information about the event situation, and voila, pops up a decision, automatically, unbiasedly. It's just almost corruption proof. The policies, the decisions based on policies are determined by the operating system, the program. So people make policies, and then the programs determine if things are being run according to policies or not. It saves a lot of manpower, resources, and it makes a very efficient run government. No longer do you need many courts or things like that, and for a small country, it's very appropriate. It's very suitable, because a small country doesn't have much resources, human power to delegate to different things. And it's all you need is the software. That's the starting point. and if anyone, I can easily be the project manager for such a thing. I know that I can make systems on the fly. If anyone is willing to do the grunt work, the labor of coding, and ironing out the bugs within the system, design flaws and things like that, just get in touch with me. We need at least about 8 people to work on this. So there you go.